Fix wobbly bits.
Oh my... I mean, I don't talk about people's wobbly bits.
Tables.
Just shut up and give me my whiskey! Whiskey! Whiskey!
Hey everybody, I'm Chris from Whiskey and Hammock, and special edition, we're here at / Distillery with Ingrid from Whistle Pig and Darryl McNally from Limavady, who's also CEO and Master Distiller. So I am super excited to talk to Darryl. So me and Ingrid, of course, like you've seen the other new reviews and you've seen the other events, so happy to be here. And so, Darryl, tell us a little bit about Limavady.
Sure, yeah. So Limavady, it's where I live. It's where I was born and bred. So a lot of people go, oh God, where did you get the name from? But it's actually it's a real place in the north coast of Ireland, County Derry in the north of Ireland. I was born and bred there, so lucky to have been brought into an area that has got so much outstanding history for making whiskey. Limavady, it's not a new whiskey. It's an old whiskey that I'm bringing back to life. So it dates way back to 1750, which is pretty amazing when you look at what independence year in 1776 here in the US. So we're making whiskey 26 years before then.
So do you have that recipe from back then, or
I have an idea of what it was like.
Okay.
My family owned it in 1880, and there is some paperwork with some of the family who are, they said when the time's right they'll pass it on, but I know it was a single malt. I have paper clippings dating back to 1815, which said about Limavady malt whiskey, single malt whiskey. So I know with Limavady being triple distilled and 100% malted barley, that I'm in the right path. So it's a little bit of bringing the old with the new. Story about me: I'm one of 3 master distillers in Ireland. Up until about maybe 3 or 4 years ago, with the renaissance of Irish whiskey. So when I heard that my family actually owned Limavady Distillery in 1880, I just had to get the trademark. I had to bring it back to life again.
Really? So you went and got the trademark? So when did you find out that your family actually did?
Yeah, well, I was master distiller at Bushmills for a long number of years. Started in Bushmills back in 1998, so I've been making whiskey for 25 years. But my story within the Irish alcohol business dates back 48 years ago, the day I was born. So I was born, and day 2 I was brought from the hospital into the family Irish bar. So
what?
Pouring pints of Guinness by the time I was 2, shaking up old fashions by the time I was 3. So absolutely no shock whatsoever to my mum and dad. After university, I said, guess what? I got a job at Bushmills Distillery, Irish Distillers. So back then, Irish Distillers owned all the Irish whiskies that were still there. A lot of the distilleries closed down. There was 102 distilleries, I think, in Ireland.
Well, right, because of Prohibition killed everything,
yeah,
right?
Prohibition.
I mean, because back then, before Prohibition, Irish whiskey was all over, right? It's huge. It was wasn't it number 1 in the world?
Back it was quite some statistics here if you really want them. But back in the early 1900s, before the dark days of Irish whiskey, Scotch and Irish both sold 14 million cases worldwide. Irish whiskey is only beginning to get back to 14 million. Mm-hmm. So that just shows how far the industry was hurt, if you like, in the dark days. It was the First World War. There was the Irish Civil War, so there was an embargo put on exports from Britain, if you like, so we couldn't export into the US. So it was dark days for Irish whiskey. All the distilleries closed down except for 2. So it was very sad. Limavady closed in 1912. So with the family link, I wanted to bring it back to life. I had all my plans on paper, and then I got contacted by Whistle Pig to say, hey, we'd love to get into an Irish whiskey with you. I was sort of going, have I got a bug here? Is the FBI guy dug in here something? What's the story? I was left in my mobile phone and waiting for somebody to answer it before I answered it. So all those things, but for Whistle Pig to phone up and want to partner with you in an Irish whiskey, your family Irish whiskey, a whiskey with so much history and heritage, I just went, let me think about it. Signing the dotted line immediately, and you get to work with great people like Ingrid and her counterparts around all of the US. So we're in 32 states now. We launched August 21. I think now going into 2023, Limavady's in a lot more places, across the states, and we're hopefully setting up for some real good numbers now in sales, and getting people to taste it, I think, is key.
No, I think it is. Like I said, we did an event last year when we had Ingrid come by, and she brought Whistle Pig and brought Limavady, and I think it went over really well. And a lot of people did like Limavady because it's a different take on Irish whiskey.
Sure, yeah, and I wanted that's what I've tried to do, because in 1785 there was a tax put on malted barley in Ireland, so therefore a lot of people started to substitute, the 100% malt mash bill with other cereals like wheat and oats and things like that, which made the Irish whiskey category a little bit lighter. I wanted to bring Limavady kicking and screaming back into the 21st century with that 100% malted barley.
Okay.
The difference with Limavady, we only mature in first fill bourbon casks, so that's fresh bourbon casks that's come across in the US.
Right.
We only use them one time. I then sell them on as second fill bourbon. I then put it into Pedro Jimenez, which is a really sweet sherry, which gets that lovely sweetness coming through, which gives you that really balanced flavour. You get the spice, you get the vanilla, you get the chili on the tongue. Your second sip, you get the maltiness from the 100% malted barley, and then you get that lovely sweetness, but no burn whatsoever, which I think that's the sort of eureka moment. I think consumers go, I'm drinking 92 proof.
Yep.
Triple distilled single malt, finished in PX, and it's also a single barrel because each bottle's individually labelled, because we only bottle each PX bottle individually and each cask individually, so each bottle is unique.
Oh,
and they take a taste and they go, I'm drinking 92 proof Irish single malt and I'm not even moving here. This is great.
No question.
Really? Well, listen, I mean, I've had it before, and I was a big fan. So when I found out that I could actually meet the man behind it, I was super excited. I couldn't wait. So like going back to, because the new process is right to mass produce everything, but you're bringing it back to
single cask, yeah. So from one single cask, it's only the PX cask. So the bourbon cask, what I do is I marry them together and then I recask into the PX. The PX is a larger 500 litre European oak. It's an old oak barrel which has been re-seasoned with Pedro Jimenez, which is the Swedish sherry. So if you can imagine, there's Fino, which is a really dry sherry, and then you have Amontillado, and then you have Oloroso, which most of the distilleries use.
Right.
Then you have Cream, which is sweeter again. And then you have PX, Pedro Jimenez, which is the sweetest. I put it in vanilla ice cream. It's almost like treacle, like treacle, but a real sweet treacle.
Okay.
You just mix it up with vanilla ice cream, it's to die for. But it's perfect for giving that little bit of a finish. Because if I didn't do that, Limavady would be very much spicy, bourbony, almost quite generic, if that makes sense. Whereas the PX, when you do that little bit of finish, it gets that complexity. It gets, oh God, and people are going, God, I got the spiciness, I got the bourbon cask. Oh my God, what's that coming back now? You sort of like licorice and dark chocolate and dark summer fruits all coming from the PX.
Yeah.
So that's what sort of gives that sort of crazy mouth complexity, if
Oh,
you like.
right. Okay.
Which I think, you sort of know over the years, making whiskey for 25 years, you begin to know the different generations and what they expect from a quality perspective. They need to know where the ingredients are from food or for drink. They want to know everything about it, the younger generation. So when I designed Limavady on paper, it was on paper.
Well, see, that was my question I was going to ask you. So, like you said, you've been, you said distilling, doing this for 25 years.
Correct.
So when did you come up with this recipe or the head, like, okay, this is, when I get the chance, I'm going to do the Limavady or do my own whiskey this way?
I had this in my mind about 10 or 12 years ago.
Okay.
But I locked it away as in, right, okay, if I ever get the chance to have my, because I've always was working for the big players, the Pernod Ricards, the Diageos, quintessential brands. Limavady, I sort of had, I applied for planning permission for the distillery about 7 years ago. So this has sort of been wishful thinking for a long number of years.
Okay.
And with distilling and whiskey, you need to plan nearly
10
years ago. And I just look back the other day and I go, I think I started this when I was 40 and I'm coming 49 now in September. So it's been a long journey. It was actually said to my brother, who's 11 years younger, should we really do this distillery or do we just keep sourcing good liquid and doing a PX finish, doing almost like the blending aspect of it?
Right.
And he goes, of course we will, because he's a distiller as well.
Oh yeah.
And he's 37, so I said, you're going to have to pick up then the bulk of
you
this.
have children.
Yeah, well I do. I have a 20-year-old son who, would definitely would be great to come into this.
Yeah.
So it's something to hand down through generation to generation. And I think I'm this far in now, sort of 7 years in the planning of this.
Right. So
It's been a success in my opinion, and it's hopefully only going to get better and get people to taste it, people take sips and lips. They'll love Limavady. So this year we'll spend traveling in the US with friends that we've made in the past, but just revisiting relationships and hopefully getting more people to try it and pulling the sales.
we're always on the lookout for that new whiskey, for something new, something that has a different expression. And I think Limavady definitely is one of those, Irish whiskey that's going to bring you something different.
Yeah, well, I think the great thing about it, I got interviewed by Whiskey Advocate. I think it was December 2021, and I thought, wow, maybe I've won one of the spots in the 2021 top, Irish whiskey, or not Irish whiskies, world whiskies.
Yeah.
And I was disappointed. I won nothing. but it was actually them doing their planning for 2022.
Oh,
So then
okay.
Limavady actually won 8th position on all whiskies for Whiskey Advocate coming up to the holiday period, Christmas time there.
Oh,
So
wow.
that was like one of the Oscars almost, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then in February, coupled in February then by Wine Enthusiast, 96 points. That's
Huge. Yeah,
That
it
is huge. Like I would have took 92 all day long. Like 94 I would have been dancing a jig there on that table. 95, God knows what I've been doing. I'll not be telling you what I did when I found out in 96.
Oh, now I need to hear this story.
It was a bet. If you get above 90, if you get above 95, what will you do? Oh, such and such.
So Darryl, so when we're talking single barrel, each one of those casks are 864 bottles.
Yes. Okay, so because they're 500 litres, because it's a European oak,
Yeah.
the butts, as we call them, BUTTS, is the butt size barrel. So we'll put in our whiskey that's matured in first fill bourbon casks into these PX casks. Because they are so big, each of the casks will do about 846 bottles.
Oh wow.
You
Okay.
know, so when somebody wants to buy a full cask, it's a lot in comparison to the normal American barrel size.
Right.
It's 2.5 times.
Oh wow.
So each bottle you'll see there on it, that'll be bottle, X of 846 in cask number. And what's already starting to happen is people are beginning to pick, 57 cask was particularly good. Oh, I had a 32 there, that was good.
Right.
Because people have different, even within, the range is not this, the range is very much this. But
Okay.
that's the fun of it, that one cask is going to be slightly different to another.
Right.
Because you would have blended that out with some of the bigger players by mixing all the PX casks together for your bottling run. I don't want to do that. That's
Too easy.
too easy.
Too easy.
So we wanted to be a little bit different from one cask to the next. And
Oh yeah. And so different
That's the fun.
phone casts and that's, but you said still stay within that same
Still
lane.
stay within the range of flavours that you want. Some will be a little bit more sweeter, some will be a little bit more of the spice coming through. But it's great because you're building up almost that social media presence and
Yes.
comments and oh my God, I tasted this one. Oh God, and then I got another one down in another state maybe and it was slightly different.
Right.
But there's nobody has said anything negative. Oh my God, there's a difference between them. But that's whiskey life. That's gone back to the craftness. That's gone back to the, when you go back to what our ancestors were making whiskey and they maybe one cask and they drank it and they tried to repeat it and it was never the same. It's the fun of, oh God, that was a particularly good one there, or that one there was slightly better than that one, or I prefer this one to this one. That's the spice of life, the variety of life. And I always say when you're drinking whiskey, it's about having fun, it's about making you smile.
Oh, for sure.
Us Irish, few whiskies, you can tell we never shut up. So yeah, and especially when you're talking about whiskey, I could talk about whiskey from here to, I don't know, to my birthday in September.
No, that's awesome. I said, so that's what I was going to ask. So for everyone out there, so do you have a favorite batch then? So that way you can say it here and everybody's going to be like, looking for it.
Well, there's a particular good batch there. There's a number 9 there is it for Florida. So
okay.
what we did, so we've Limavady, but what we kept back 26 casks of PX, known as the Founders, because it's the first 26 barrels that we ever produced. It was, how do you say, the creme de la creme when you were doing all your research and development on what you wanted Limavady to be. So rather than us just launching them straight away as something special for a bit of media hype, he said, no, we'll lock them away, set them away. Let's get Limavady moving for a year or a year and a bit, and then bring in one cask to each of the key states that have supported Limavady from its launch back in August 21. Florida, obviously.
We launched Limavady for some reason. Whistlepig thinks it's a great idea to launch whiskey brands in Florida in August. Yeah. So we have this very beautifully pale-skinned Irishman on the beach in St. Pete Beach selling Limavady Irish whiskey. It was great.
Yeah. I'm actually quite tanned. I think.
Yeah, exactly. You come on.
But you have to give that commitment and take it around, take Limavady around, get people to love it as much as I love it.
Right. Well, I mean, and who better to do it than you, right? The person that knows the most about it, and they said you crafted this. So, and so so batch 9. So of course, out of the Founders barrels, Florida got the best one, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And like I said, a lot of people when they taste that and love Limavady, they say, "Oh my God, I'm drinking now 112 proof Founders cask Limavady," and again, I'm getting that sweetness, a little bit maybe more spice and a little bit more heat, but not in a bad way. Right. And again, people just can't believe that when they drink cask strength whiskey, they get that burn in their stomach, which it's just their stomach's not built for that. But with Limavady, they still find it's quite balanced, and God, I could drink this all day. A few of the barmen last night, we did who did a staff training in Raglan Road in Disney Springs, and a lot of the bartenders goes, God, we love that heat, but there's no burn in your stomach. It's balanced. Yeah, we love it. But so, and if you have the bartenders on side and they like it, that's an easy sell then for everybody coming in, especially if they're an Irish whiskey drinker. And then with Limavady, you get something a little bit more robust and bold compared to some Irish whiskies, which just my personal opinion, I've got too light for my liking. Limavady sort of dragging it back into something that a Scotch drinker will drink, an American whiskey, bourbon, rye will drink Limavady and still enjoy it and appreciate it.
No, I mean, I would definitely agree with that, because I started off with bourbon and I've branched out from there, but I can definitely, like you said, taste the difference in Limavady. It has that, like you said, that robust flavor. They said, off the nose it's sweet, and even on on the finish you taste a little bit of floral, but more like honey, and your sweetness comes through.
Sure.
It's chocolate. What I love is that this sits right between the bourbon rye world and the Scotch world. It gives you this simple transition to move from one to the other, with that PX sherry, but also from our perspective, I love espresso martinis, and it's the new hot drink, and this makes a fantastic espresso martini.
Espresso martini?
Oh, yeah.
It's
so good, but it's that sherry, and you can almost taste, like when you taste the whiskey, you can see how it would go great with dark chocolate, dark cherry, coffee, all those really strong flavor profiles.
Yeah, and the natural sweetness within the Limavady, there's a natural sweetness there, because like I would say, man gets 100 ml pour, which is what, 4 ounces?
Yeah.
So that's an Irish pour. It is, I think, 70 calories or something, the same as a banana.
Yeah.
So
really,
so why have a banana?
So banana, Limavady whiskey.
One of our favorite things is it's a 700 ml, so it's not a typical 750, but we say that the distiller drinks the first 50 ml.
Quality control. But it's good, as I say, the natural sweetness within the Limavady takes out, like if you're doing an Irish coffee with this, you don't have to put sugar in. You're doing your espresso martini, you can lay out some of the the sweetness, but you're still getting a robust drink with the quality of the liquid pulling through.
Yeah.
Old fashioned, beautiful. Manhattan, beautiful. Whiskey sour, any of them stacks up. And then what I need to say to people is that when we created this whiskey, 100% multi barrel, triple distilled, PX finish, single barrel. It's in that super premium category.
Yeah.
But we've tried to keep the price right, because people who want to put this as a base for cocktails needs the price to be right going into the bars, etc., etc. So it's less than $50.
Oh
so,
wow! Yeah.
So again, we're punching above our weight. Right. From a price perspective, but we could have charged $75 or something for it, but you're taking away some of the consumers.
Right.
So it's the right price, I think, too.
Oh no, definitely. They said in the market today, and obviously everything's and our economy's going up, so this is definitely a good choice in that price range. And like I said, that can't go wrong. I personally don't think so.
No.
I mean, there's a lot of flavor for listen, that malt and barley, it's almost like the sour on the nose, but you don't get that. It's funny. It almost like fools you after you taste it and after you finish.
Yeah. And Limavady we didn't really touch on, but Limavady is Irish for leap of the dog. So it's about an Irish wolfhound that actually jumped the little river called the River Row in Limavady and warned its master, which was King O'Cahan, about an enemy ambush that was about to invade the town. Not sure what's going on there. Wanted to invade the town, and actually the dog warned the master, actually got other troops from another part of outside Limavady, brought those troops to actually protect the King O'Cahan, saved the land, and then the land was called Leap of the Dog, which in Irish is Limavady.
Oh, no kidding, that's awesome. Yeah. So obviously that's, hence the dog.
Hence the dog, yeah. And on the bottle you'll have the dogs, so it's the Irish wolfhound jumping, and then you'll have the four-leaf clover. I never really wanted Limavady to be too sort of leprechaun-y Irish, because you let the whiskey do the talking, so I've just put the four-leaf clover because I am very much Irish. I am very much Irish at heart. I actually did my DNA check, I'm 100% Irish. But,
well, you said born and raised in the same place?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, born and raised in Limavady. So the four-leaf clover, there's only one four-leaf clover for every 10,000 shamrocks. And it's seen as particularly lucky in Ireland. So it stands for love, luck, faith and honesty.
Wow. So see, I did not know that. I didn't know...
So it's
I've always heard...
like a message on the bottle, pardon the pun, So.
Yeah.
And then the bottle design, this is the old design from the 1800s. So The blob, this bottle was actually one that they used in the 1800s, so I redesigned it based on the old bottle.
Okay.
They used to blow the glass, so you had to cut off, the blob here, so that's what the blob's about. We couldn't get a cork to fit it because, the circular shape of the glass.
Right.
So then we had to come up with the Venlock fitting it, which is very easy to open. A lot of people try to sort of just pull it off.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
You
No, it doesn't work
usually
that way.
knock somebody out to the right-hand side. But it's very easy, just if you can imagine the 45-degree angle and then sort of pop it back down and again. So a little bit of the old with the new.
Right? No, that's awesome. So, like, do we get to try the Founder's Barrel while we're here?
Oh, yeah. Why not?
Perfect.
Darryl, drink up.
Sure. But do you want to do a little toast for the first one
Oh,
first?
do that, yeah.
So let me see, we'll do, do you want a cheeky one or do you want just a normal one?
Oh, I want a cheeky one.
Cheeky one, okay. So then, 4 things an Irishman loves to do. Here's to cheating. Here's to stealing. Here's to fighting. And here's to drinking. If you're going to cheat, make sure you cheat death. If you're going to steal, make sure you steal your sweetheart's heart away. If you're going to fight for your buddies. If you're going to drink Limavady Irish whiskey. And /distillery with me. Closer.
We have to do another toast with the Founder's Barrel.
Absolutely.
And so, like, I think I said that, when we reviewed another Irish whiskey, but so, to say it correctly, is Sláinte?
Sláinte, yeah. Sláinte.
Okay, so...
It's spelled sort of slanty.
Well, that's right, yeah.
Slainte.
Yes.
Hold on, did I finish that one? That's the big pour for you now.
So, was it the Irish pour that you had?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This one they say in Ireland, say when.
So this is Founder's Barrel. This is specifically for North Florida. That's why it's got the little label on the side.
Oh, okay.
This is, once it's sold out, it's sold out. You can only get it here. It's barrel number 9 of the 26.
Right.
And it is 112 proof Irish whiskey.
So it's exactly the same as the first whiskey Limavady we drank. Only that, as I touched on earlier, we held back the 26 Founders Cask to only share with people and states that have sort of supported us over the last year and a half. Florida is very much one of those.
Awesome.
I think we actually had 2 casks for Florida, North Florida and South Florida, which is quite unique. So again, sort of stands out to say how much we think of Florida as a state. And
no kidding. So we actually got 2 casks. So
you get 2 casks.
So did you get 9 and 10, or like 2 and 9?
I think it was 9 and 10 or 8 or 9.
I think it was 8 or 9.
8 or 9,
and the one in South Florida is 110.8 proof. So we got
kept a little bit stronger for you guys.
Because I live in
Perfect.
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely the same whiskey, only it's the Founder's Cask, it's the first 26, 112 proof. You get a little bit more heat here, a little smell and taste of it.
All right.
But you'll still find that balance. You'll still get the maltiness. You'll still get the PX sweetness. You'll still get no burn down into your stomach, which is great. That's the key to it, a balanced whiskey, even at this strength. Which my 2 cousins came to visit every Christmas Day, and I always have my medicine bottle, which is like samples of things that I've been working on.
Oh yeah.
So they always go, oh, what have you this Christmas? What have you? So I had this bottle number 9, but it was like a medicine bottle. So my mum typically was pouring these massive glasses of whiskey out for my 2 cousins. Like, and they weren't. One was 47, the other one was 37. So it wasn't as if they were young boys or anything.
Right.
So next thing my aunt phones over from just across the way to my mum and goes, what the hell was in that bottle? These 2 have fell asleep on their Christmas dinner. Actually, they were eating their dinner. Into their dinner, gravy, Brussels sprouts, everything. So I go, oh, that was number 9. That was bottle number 9. And the 2 guys phoned me about 8 o'clock on Christmas night. They said, we lost Christmas Day because of you. I said, hold on a minute. It was my mum poured it. You asked for it, and I didn't actually finish it.
Yeah, not me.
Not me. So again, watch this one, because Cask Strike's always good fun. Because it always.
Do a toast?
Yeah?
Do another toast?
Do another toast, yeah, let me see. So, something that's quite nice, let me see. So, here's to a long life and a happy one, quick death and an easy one, pretty wife and an honest one, a Limavady and another one.
Cheers.
Cheers. Sláinte.
So good.
It's a good spice. A lot of sweetness coming nearly immediately.
More chocolate.
Lasts a lot longer.
Oh yeah.
A little bit more heat in the very top of the mouth. It's still there in the tongue.
Yeah, like the flavor's still lasting there.
Yeah, still there.
Finishes. Yep,
Still there.
Still hanging out.
Second taste, there'll be a little bit less of the spiciness, more of the maltiness, the sweetness will still be there. But really, for the camera, has there any burn?
No. And you said, there's what proof is this?
112.
112. Yeah, that's very smooth for 112.
Yeah. And I've seen like a lot of people drinking, cask strength whiskies and go, loving them, but their face changing. Nobody so far with this.
Well, that's the thing. For Whiskey and Hammock, we usually, when we review something, we have like a 3-step process where we do it straight from the bottle, then we like add 1 cube, just swirl around a little bit of melt, taste it again, and then do like kind of full melt.
Yeah.
Because it's cask strengths are usually famous for like 1 cube would definitely
and find your sweet spot.
Right. Yeah. Yep. But like you said, for this, I wouldn't need a cube to tame this down at all. No. Like you said, for that proof
That's
that it is
dangerous.
yeah, very smooth.
Yeah.
Okay, so like so what proof was number 9?
No, it wasn't. Probably was about 62, maybe 61. So it's about 123, maybe 122. It was finished in, I think it was finished in some fortified wine cask, which made it really easy to drink.
Okay.
I think they get caught up in the fact that it was Christmas morning, and you must think you can drink more than Christmas morning.
Yeah, of course.
And then a lot of people make the awful mistake of thinking, I'm used to drinking 45%, which is 90 proof, so therefore 120 is only another third of what's. It doesn't work that way. It's not 1 1/3 shots or anything. This is a whole different concentration here. So it does come up and tap on the shoulder. Do you know what I mean? So.
No, that's the same thing. When I first started doing this, I found out really quickly going to tastings. Yeah. Because I want to taste everything, right? Yeah. So the first round of doing that, I think I think I walked sideways and I had to get another ride home because and then same thing. I told friends, if you come into a tasting, take your time.
Yeah.
Pace yourself.
And whiskey as well. I always say to people, because I've seen people in Ireland, they think, I'm a good drinker, I can drink loads of wine or loads of beer or Guinness. I said whiskey's a different, it's a different animal, if you like. Do you know what I mean? So don't, just be careful with it, especially if you're learning, because whiskey will, it'll come up and tap you very quickly. So it's about responsible drinking as well.
It's not a tap in most cases.
It's a slap, isn't it? Tap, slap.
Head down and Christmas food,
No, definitely. Is there anything else? So is there anything that you haven't said already, or anything new that you could say about?
No, it's just great to be now in sort of 32 states in the US. It's great now that, as I say, Limavady is in a lot of places, and it's now about getting the pull through. Yeah. It's up to us to to talk to our distributors and make sure we get them to do their job. We'll support them at every stage, of course. We might have a few other little single cask finishes coming out.
Really? Okay.
Unique and different.
So unique and different, so like something different than the Oloroso finish. So something different.
Yeah, something different than the PX finish.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
we might have 4 other different finishes that we could maybe drip feed into different markets and whatnot. So again, we don't want to dilute the brand as it is. We need it to sort of wash its own face, if you like, and be out there. But we'll start then to drop in other little single barrel expressions, which I think will help sort of extend the portfolio. But again, we have to work very, very much in close tandem with our brand team, and with their guys on the ground here who when is the right time to do that. So So in the meanwhile, I'll be the mad scientist in the background, creating wonderful liquids, and when the time's right, we'll bring something new and different.
No, so, and that's the thing. You said the mad scientist in the background, because I've seen other master distillers and I've met them, and it's interesting. Like you said, so when your family comes, it's like, okay, so what do you have? So you have like all these different bottles, and like different things that you're working on.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting. And you said you have 4 different other expressions that you're obviously working on that's going to come out later. So I'm obviously interested about that, because this one, very smooth, very easy to drink. They said even the Founder's Barrel, easy, like it doesn't need a cube.
Deceivingly easy.
Yes, I can see that. Yeah.
I think also we actually are in Publix, surprisingly enough.
What?
Yeah, so it's easy to find, which was good for us. When Publix decided to, it brought it in under Scotch. We're okay with that.
Really?
But yeah, so we are in every Publix, and if not, you can get it there. And I think that for that $49.99 price point, you're getting an absolutely quality whiskey that should be. It seems like it should be more expensive, and luckily we were at that point. Like, bring it home, try it. Notoriously, this bottle will just appear within like a few hours as soon as they he'll drink most of it.
I think I need to get a little more. Is everything a little bit?
Yeah, please. See, and you got more shots.
I learned how to do it right. I learned from the master.
And I think Limavady as well, it's good because you know, I don't know what it's like in the US, but in Thanksgiving or Christmas, it's very difficult to get a bottle of, you know, alcoholic beverage now for everybody to share and enjoy. I find the Limavady, you know, males, females, different ages, young, old, will actually, that's the ghost story about it. You know, people will enjoy it around the table. Oh God, yeah, you know, bottle of whiskey. It's a bottle of Irish whiskey that everybody will actually drink and enjoy, which is very, very hard to get because this person wants white wine, red wine. Oh, I want tequila. Oh no, I'm vodka. You know, it's so hard. You nearly need a bar in your.
No, my house is only whiskey. Like, you know,
Not drinking anything else. Not happening.
You can have whiskey, and of the whiskey you can have Limavady.
You can have ice.
Limavady.
That's right. Whiskey
With
and
ice,
ice.
no
That's
ice.
all we got.
Yeah, shaken, stirred, whatever. Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
Well, no, thank you so much.
Thank you very much for taking the time. It's great to speak today about all things Limavady. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for your taking the time. You know, both of you, like, you know, for doing this, like, you know, on Whiskey in the Hammock. We appreciate it. Like, you know, love them for putting us out there. And like I said, you know, I was excited, and you know, to put it out there for everybody, so I can come out here and meet you, is amazing. It's been, you know, a great opportunity. So I'm gonna leave everybody with our motto: May the wind always sway your hammock, may your glass never go dry. And now I have to say the actual, you know, slanchava, right?
Slancha, yeah.
Slancha,
yeah.
Cheers.
And that's a wrap.
That's it.